Good evening, viewers. Starting off with news from Antigua and Barbuda. Prime Minister Gaston Browne says he will not apologize and is standing behind his statement that Antigua and Barbuda's second premier should not have been designated a national hero, even as the issue has drawn criticism from one former prime minister and a trade union. Browne had earlier said that Sir George Walter, who served as head of government from 1971 to 1976 and was a key member of the Antigua Trade and Labor Union, questioned why he had been granted such a position given also his incarceration for misbehavior in public office. Browne had earlier said that Sir George Walter, who served as head of government from 1971 to 1976 and was a key member of the Antigua Trade and Labor Union, questioned why he had been granted such a position given also his incarceration for misbehavior in public office. Browne said that his position in Sir George was also as a result of a newspaper article on January 4, 2022, and written by D. Giselle Isaac, a former Speaker of Parliament, in which he challenged the naming of certain buildings to celebrate the contributions of Sir Leicester, Sir Neville Richards, and Sir John St. Luce. Apart from Sir George, the other national heroes in Antigua and Barbuda include the former West Indies cricket legend, Sir Vivian Richards, the island's first premier, and Sir Vere Cornwall Bird, among others. The opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party has called on Minister of Tourism, Transport and Ports, Lindsay Grant, to resign, as a video circulating on social media shows Grant in an altercation with a police officer assigned to the Federation's COVID-19 task force. The party's statement issued on Tuesday said the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terence Drew, calls for the immediate resignation of the Honourable Minister of Tourism, Lindsay Grant, following the shocking video that is being circulated on social media depicting Grant viciously disrespecting and assaulting compliance officers of the NEOC task force and openly refusing to comply with the COVID-19 protocols approved by federal cabinet, of which he's a part of. In the video, Grant is seen at a night spot without a mask, verbally and physically abusing an officer who was insisting that patrons sign their name to register for contact tracing. Later on Tuesday, Grant also released a statement stating that he regrets the circumstances that have been portrayed and wishes to assure the public and the police in particular that he fully supports their efforts at the preservation of law and order. News from Belize. The Belize Commission of Inquiry into the sale of public assets between October 2019 and November 2020 has found that none of the sales that took place under the previous administration was in compliance with the law. The Commission has released its 46-page report after hearing testimony from 22 witnesses, including 3 former government ministers. Commission Chair, Senior Counsel Andrew Marshalla, confirmed that the inquiry found that none of the sales that took place under the previous administration was in compliance with the law. He told television viewers that this was because the Minister of Finance had adopted an informal procedure to sell off the assets, and as a result, because the process did not follow the legal guidelines, everyone who participated in those transactions was violating the law. The inquiry report also detailed the sale of vehicles from the government's vehicle care unit, laptops, and specially made furniture sold off during the period on the investigation. And finally, on tonight's edition of Regional News. The United Kingdom's Prime Minister Boris Johnson apologized Wednesday for attending a garden party during Britain's coronavirus lockdown in 2020, saying there are things his government did not get right. Johnson is facing a tide of anger from the public and politicians over claims he and his staff disobeyed the pandemic restrictions by socializing when it was banned. Some members of the Conservative Party said he should resign if he can't quell the uproar. Johnson acknowledged for the first time on Wednesday that he went to the May 2020 garden party at his Dowding Street office, though he said that he had considered it a work event to thank the staff for their efforts during the pandemic. An invitation to the socially distant drinks gathering was emailed to about 100 people by a senior prime ministerial aide. At the time, people in Britain were barred by law from meeting more than one person outside their household. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Regional News. I'm Joel VOGT. Thank you for joining.